Hi, I'm Roger Philipp, CPA, CGMA, founder and Chief Creative Officer here at UWorld, Roger CPA Review. Now today I want to address one of the most common questions we get from potential and current CPA exam candidates, which is, hey, what can I do as a certified public accountant? Great question. Well, today I want to give a brief overview of what a career in corporate accounting looks like. And that includes the positions that you would get, the compensation, and what the benefits are of choosing this path. Now, CPAs in business and industry work for companies ranging from small family-owned businesses to huge Fortune 500 public companies. And they're considered strategic business partners of their organizations and work in a variety of different areas. Now, CPAs working in corporate accounting often also receive the CGMA designation, which I also have, which gives you research tools to a global network. The CGMA is the new global designation for CPAs working in business and in government. Now, it is strategically vital complement to your CPA credential, enhancing and empowering your experience and career path. Now, here are the typical positions you can obtain as a CPA in corporate accounting. First off, we've got a staff financial accounting and reporting, and that position is like a 1 to 3 year position. In other words, you just start out of school, staff financial accounting and reporting. And this means you work under the direction of a senior accountant performing detailed work assignments in one or several of the following areas. So you may be working with receivables, payroll, payables, property, general ledger, and also eventually preparing the financial statements. Another position would be staff management accountant, again 1 to 3 years, and you work under the direction of a senior or a manager in collecting detailed cost data. So think of, cost managerial and variance analysis, right? All of our favorite stuff. That's what a staff management accountant would do. And you may be responsible for the preliminary cost analysis and for preparing actual reports. You might also have a staff tax accountant, and again, the 1 to 3 years here. Now, you'd work under the direction of a senior or a manager in doing things like preparing tax returns or also preparing various schedules for review. Then we have a staff internal audit. The internal audit, again, years 1 to 3. Here you work under the direction of a senior or a manager in conducting compliance audits and our favorite tests of internal control, as well as information systems. So how much we can expect to make as a staff accountant? Well, average national salary starts at about $64,000 a year. Now, when I started many moons ago, I started at $18,000 a year for the same position. So now, obviously, we've had a little inflation and revenue or costs have gone up. Now, once you move up into a senior level, that would be years like 3 to 6. For all these positions, the national average compensation starts at about $85,000. And then after that, at the manager level, which is 6+ years, the national average compensation starts at about $100,000. Now, assistant controllers, they report to the controller and they assist in the supervision of the day-to-day operations and the collection and interpretation of accounting data. What else do? They oversee the statutory and management reporting functions. Although the scope varies within the firm size, depending on how big the firm is, they prepare detailed journal entries and account analysis, as well as assisting in tax return and financial statement preparation. Now, the average national salary for an assistant controller starts at about $92,000 a year. The controller functions as the chief accounting executive and is responsible for organizing, directing, and controlling the work of the accounting personnel in collecting, summarizing, and interpreting financial data for the use of management, creditors, investors, and taxing authorities, our favorite, the IRS. Now, as a member of the top management team, a controller helps develop forecasts for proposed projects of the organization. They measure the actual performance against operating plans and standards and interprets the results of operations for all levels of management. Now, the average national salary starts at about $105,000 a year, Plus, one of the nice things is you could have stock options, right? So if the company's public or they go public, woohoo, right? We've got those stock options. Now, the CFO, that's the Chief Financial Officer, the CFO advises the president or the CEO about stuff like financial reporting, financial stability of the company, liquidity and growth, financial strategy, design, and execution. So they direct and supervise the work of the controller, the treasurer, and sometimes the internal auditing manager. Now, other duties might include maintaining relationships with stockholders or stakeholders, we call them sometimes, the financial institutions, their outside investors as well, and the investment community. Now, frequently, the CFO is a member of the board of directors and the executive committee, and they may contribute to the overall organization planning, policy development, and implementation. Now, the average national salary starts at about $167,000 for a CFO. Plus, again, if it's a public company, maybe we got us some stock options. Now, what are the benefits of working in corporate accounting? First of all, a great work-life balance. Because with corporate accounting companies, what they're realizing lately is they're increasingly focusing on creating a strong work-life balance, because there seems to be less pressure to meet the tight deadlines and increase billable hours. Probably also because they don't want to lose the good staff that they finally found. Another benefit is security. Jobs in corporate accounting are consistent and secure, so your job and role will remain relatively the same day to day. Now, for me, I like variety, whereas a good friend of mine who worked at Fox Studios for many years, he loved the consistency, he loved the stock options, he loved the security of working at a big company. Specialization's another benefit. With private accountants, basically they have the opportunity to specialize in accounting practices for a specific industry or function. That way you can work in an industry you're passionate about and also become an expert in that field. Another example, my friend was interested in Fox. He was interested in the movie industry, so he got to specialize in the accounting side of the movie industry. Active contribution to the company's bottom line. In corporate accounting, you're making a big difference in contributing to the company's financial health, their growth, and their stability. So corporate accountants are vital to a business's longevity and play an important role in a company's overall success. So this is just one of many satisfying career paths you can take as a certified public accountant. Now remember, while there are many different opportunities licensure can offer, here's what they all have in common: higher salary, upward mobility, job stability, and you'll always be in high demand. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope you start or continue to pursue a career path as a CPA.